Let me announce.
Shalom.
Shalom. This is Awake, O Israel Ministries from Jacksonville, Florida. If you are new or any short time that you're listening to us, we are elated that you are learning with us as we're learning and as we're growing into truth. Please send your donations. We desperately need them at josh.lavio@gmail.com. Please support our ministry. If you're learning, and this is for anyone who's listening, that you're going with us, you've been with us for any amount of time, months, years, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Josh.
So before we go into the lesson,
That's all. Yeah, good.
I want to talk about, bring out some facts and some basic Bible knowledge is what the name of this lesson is. So basically, we must understand, as I said before, basic information and knowledge about the Bible to really understand the context and the contents of what we're reading when we read the Bible, right?
Yes, that's right.
So
the basics.
It's not
The oracles.
It's not hard. So we must understand the histrionics of the Bible, the history.
That's right. Who we're reading about, where they're from.
Right.
I got to say this real quick. It's going to bless you, Josh. I know you're going to go with this. I spoke to a Jewish man today in the gym. He was in the whirlpool. And I saw him again, Steve. I said, Steve, I really want to say this in love to you, kindness, that we know for a fact that there's there's Jewish rabbis all over the world because he's Jewish. And he received them because he don't want nothing to do with Christianity. He don't even want Christians talking to him. And that's good because I know why. Not because he's supposed to hate them, but you're forcing false doctrine on people. And I said to him, did you know, Steve, that there's Hebrews all over the world that are studying, scholars that are starting to admit that they're not the chosen people? And he didn't say a word to me. He didn't say a word to me. He said, okay, shook hands and left. I told him, we'll talk again. And I gave my ministry about a week or 2 weeks ago, our ministry. So you see, even some Jewish people that don't go to synagogues are lost. Yeah, they've been taught lies about, right? Yom Kippur, right? All this. That's Yiddish. That's Judaism. That's not the Hebrew teaching of the Torah.
So I want to talk about briefly before we go into the Bible. I want to give you all some information, knowledge. Okay? So we must understand the root and the origin of things. Okay? Let's just look at it. I was just...
Keep speaking. Do you want me to say something while you're looking?
I was just reading it.
See, we can get really some understanding, right, Tony, Mary, from some brothers who are truly not in full understanding, and we have. But as a statement that the Holy Spirit came down and I spoke in tongues and I wrote a book, that's completely out of line with the word. There is nothing in the word that talks about that. Nothing. Because these pastors are claiming that the gift of tongues is here today, and it's not. It is not. It was done away with. You would actually have to go to another nation. If you want to learn German, right, Tony?
Yes.
You'd have to go to one of their schools, right, and learn German. You're not going to sit there and say, oh, Holy Spirit, come down upon me and let me speak in their tongue. No, it ain't happening. Right? It ain't happening. Or let me go to Italy and talk Italian. No, it ain't happening. That was a special gift one time for the disciples. 120 people were there. They were all together in that Honda Accord. One accord. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Honda Accord. They were all in one accord. They were together, tight. They would believe. They were believing. That's why I used the car, metaphor. But that was one time. Because these people came from all over the world, and they said, how can these people be Galileans and know our tongue?
So
Tongue didn't mean like they're talking today. That's Yiddish. That's Gibbish. It's
gibberish.
That's gibberish. That's all that is. That's yabba dabba do, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, Josh. And there's no apostles.
Spoke better than most Christians.
That's right. You pastors better stop calling yourself apostles, because there is no apostles. You're apostate. Yeah. If you keep doing that, you're apostate, not apostle. And we can prove that too. Yeah, Josh. Our motto, Josh, prove all things.
So I want to read
First Thessalonians 5.
That's
a couple of things before we go into some
ahead,
scriptures.
that's all I said about that. I got some things I'm going to say tomorrow night too.
This is Hebrews and Negroes.
Now it's a good book. This is a brother that's pretty well known.
This is in chapter 8, titled Africans or Hebrews. And this is some information from now. For those of you who hold to Islam and whatever,
Come on.
some of you so-called Negro African Americans who follow Islam, were you told this was in the Quran? Now this is in the Quran.
Come on.
This is in your so-called holy book.
Uh-huh.
This is in Quran, Surah 2.
This is in the Quran.
Verse 122.
Muslim.
O children of Israel, remember the blessings of mine which I had graced you and have favored you above all people.
Look at that. Who's talking, Josh? Who's narrating?
That's
That's
Islam.
That's Islamic. What do you call them?
That's
The nation
Muhammad.
That's Muhammad praising Israel.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow.
So
Finish. Read it. This is good.
this is in Quran. This is also in the Quran. They Hebrews will not fight you even together, except in fortified townships. For strong is their fighting spirit amongst themselves, and thou wouldst think they were untired, but their hearts are divided, and that is because they are devoid of wisdom. So the nations understand that the children of Israel under them are devoid of wisdom. What wisdom? Wisdom of self, knowledge. So they're easier to conquer their spirit or their
Right on top of you. Yeah. Look, it's right on top.
So,
Yeah, Josh.
so it was during the during the Arab slave trade, it was a well-known fact that among the Arab slave traders, that the people they was trading were Hebrew from the coasts of Africa. So it was no mystery, or they were not in a midst of who they were trading, or they did not. It's not like they didn't know who they were putting on slave ships and transferring throughout the Arab world.
That's right. They knew. That was the Arab slave trade, right?
Okay, so European countries to start. The first European countries to start enslaving blacks from Africa. Everything in black Hebrew Israelite slaves went through was foretold in Deuteronomy 28, and the scriptures. It is well known that European Ashkenazi Jews have not been scattered all throughout the Middle East, and they by the way of ships.
Mm-hmm.
As bondmen and bondwomen.
Deuteronomy.
Which means the curses of Israel listed in Deuteronomy 28:15-68 are biblical, and all the biblical prophecies of fate of Israel apply to a different race of individuals than in Israel right now, than those in Israel right now.
That's right.
So,
come on.
Very simple. The people in Israel, not the seed of Jacob.
Revelation 2:9, Revelation 3:9. We can go a lot more than that too.
Israel, Israel is connected to Egypt by way of the Sinai Peninsula. Even though that was made by way of the Suez Canal, separates the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. In ancient times, it was all one land mass. As a matter of fact, the Sinai Peninsula, Palestine, and Israel all share the same tectonic plate, meaning that Israel is in Africa.
Yes, it is Africa. That's right.
Meaning a tectonic plate is another term for a continental or continental plate or continent. Mm-hmm. So Israel is in the same continent as Egypt, which is the African continent.
You know what, Justin? And there are Christians that know this too now, Tom. Well, you know, all you have to go is to the ancient maps, and you'll see it. You'll see it yourself, right? Just go to the ancient maps.
This means that Israel is a part of Northeast Africa. Mm-hmm. Britain came up with the term Middle East in the late 1800s.
There's no such thing, right, Josh?
So the Middle East, that term Middle East is only about 100 years old or a little more than that. So up until some Europeans decided to rename a whole region, no one knew of a term of a Middle East because there was no such thing. Mm-hmm. All that area, Moab, Ammon, Jordan, all those are African countries. which were, and yes, the original Arab people. A lot of those Arab people that you see on TV aren't the original Arabs. They're more European, and a lot of them actually come out and say we're more European through our DNA. They more closely go toward like the Jewish people. The actual Arabs that you would have read of, like Ishmael, was a black man. He wasn't a white European. Now, I'm not saying those aren't Ishmaelites. A lot of them are not. Now, they're not going to show you the real Arabs that are black. They're going to show you the whited out version.
The whited out time. That's right.
So
there was a whitening, wasn't there?
It is a known fact that the Middle East has no clear boundaries. Okay. We do know this was very clever, to separate the land where Jesus and the Israelites lived from, Black Africa. If Israel, Canaan was a part of Africa, then people would have to have a hard time proving that the Israelites were not black. So basically, I read that to say this. If people knew that Israel is in Africa, then you would get a very clear picture of what Christ looked like. Mm-hmm. Because you know what Africans look like. So by separating by making people think that Africa is separated from Israel, they were able to draw a blank between the appearance of the Israelites and the Africans. Because the European British people knew that the Africans and Israelites are the same color. Now, they're not the same racially or DNA-wise, they're the same color. In other words, yes, Africans and Israelites have the same color of skin, but they are not the same DNA. They are separate haploid groups. Okay? Haploid groups. Okay? Okay. Last thing, then I'll read, then we'll go into. In many, this is page 70. In many medieval African maps, 500 AD to 1500 AD, there had been seen to be the words Negro land above Ghana. It is known. It is in the area of West Africa. Negro land, sometimes called Negrita, was an ethnic European term to describe the inland and okay. I'll finish this before we close.
Put a place in there. Put a mark.
So let's go into. Let's go.
It's not English. It's you.
Hello. Spot the tea.
Prophecy. Thanks for joining tonight. We're really blessed.
To just give you a
Negro
little.
land.
So, this area completes the west. So this is what we were talking about in the book, and this is where we get While I'm waiting for this to load. So we understand that Israel and Africa, and I'll go back to this to reiterate this point, are on the same continental plate, meaning they are the same landmass. Africa and Israel are not separated. So meaning we know that the
Finish.
okay. So Negro land, or this is where the slave, now we know from researching that these people are the Hebrews that were in this area of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So the slave coast is used for parts of West Africa along the light of Benin. Now, actually, Benin is a Hebrew word.
Derived from the fact that it was a major source of African slaves during the Atlantic slave trade from the early 16th century to the late 19th century. Wow. Over nearly what other nearby coastal regions historically known by their prime original colonial export are the Gad Coast, the Ivory Coast, and the Pepper Coast or Grain Coast.
So, okay, so Benin, or Togo, like when you go along these coastlines, Benin is a Hebrew word. That's Hebrew for Benjamin.
Wow, Benin, that's right. Oh, right. I remember that, right.
So
Benin, that's what he said in that movie. That's right, Benin. He didn't say Benjamin. Benin.
So
and you get things you can't read. You need the microphone, but use it. It's right on the table. Just go like this, you can see good. Let me read it. Where are you?
according to the most research, the beginning of the slave trade in the area are not well documented. It is
difficult.
It is difficult to track the development of trade in the area due and
my irrigation into the transatlantic slave trade before about 1670, when European sources began to document this trade.
So now, of course, and now here's some places again that were involved in the slave trade, like the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French. That's why some of you Negroes speak Haitian, Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese. British, and the New World, or what we call America now. Brazil, Okay, so again, these are places where that the children of Israel were scattered to, such as the Portugal, the Netherlands or the Dutch, France. Okay, okay, hold on. And they were scattered throughout the earth. The Caribbean, we know that's south of Florida.
That would be
Puerto Rico,
my And-
DR,
Haiti,
Haiti, DR,
Dominican Republic,
Bermuda,
Cuba,
Cuba, and Jamaica.
Jamaica. That's where all the tribes ended up.
So we understand I want to now we'll just go into some. Let's go into a little bit of history here in the Bible. Let's go to the book of Kings.
Okay.
Which king?
I like what you gave me today, Hosea.
Which?
Like, what kings, Josh? First? Josh, what kings?
Second Kings chapter 17.
2 Kings chapter 17. Second Kings chapter 17. What verse are we starting at, Josh?
Hold on.
I got it outlined already. Probably 19, right? Or 17.
I'll tell you, we'll skip around a little bit.
Where do you want to
Start at verse 1.
All right. All right, 2 Kings. Everyone listening out there in a home. The fall of Samaria and the captivity of Israel. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, right? Hoshea, the son of Elah, Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to the king of Egypt and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore, the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in the harbor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes.
So these first couple verses are explaining the history of the fall of the northern kingdom. Now, if we know from the Apocrypha that they would end up coming to this side of the earth.
Right, South America, Central America.
Let's go to verse 17.
All right, verse 17, 2 Kings. Right. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire and use divinations and enchantments.
We know, so basically, Jeroboam, the king of Judah, was worshiping other gods and partaking in human sacrifice to other gods.
Wow, and sold, that's what it means pass through the fire, huh, Josh? And sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Most High, to provoke him to anger. Therefore, the Most High was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. See, he caused it. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only.
So, when it says there was only left the tribe of Judah only, of course, there are still tribes in the northern kingdom, but that's when we get the split of the northern kingdom and southern kingdom.
Okay. And Judah kept not the commandments of the Most High their power, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And the Most High rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them. Who afflicted them? He did, the Most High. And delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight.
Read.
For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Most High.
So now Jeroboam was made king over David or over Judah, and he was wicked. So he started
doing the same thing,
following these mystery religions,
and made them,
which are actually fallen angel worshipers.
Come on, and made them sin, a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them until the Most High removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
So the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Israel are not in the land. The Bible just said they're carried away unto this day.
So who are these people that are in Israel? They're not the Hebrews. They're Khazarians.
So before we go there, actually, let's go there. Then we'll come back to here. Let's go to John 4.
Gospel?
Yeah, John 4.
Okay. John 4. John 4. Where, Josh?
The Samaritan woman.
Where? For what?
Is that?
For what?
Does it? Sorry, hold on then. Say something like that.
Okay. we hope you're being blessed tonight. And 9, Mary, okay. You sure 4-9? Okay, wait for Josh. And let's wait till he gets back. And also, we would like to ask again, our viewers, please support our ministry. You know, we're only asking for $3 to $5, $10 a month. And, you know, that is not a lot of money. I know a lot of you work. We don't work all the time here. We're dedicated to this ministry. But we're planning on hopefully, you know, collecting enough money where we can go to North Carolina and help this devastation with these people that have been, you know, struck by that hurricane. So pray for us, and please send your donations here to josh.labio@gmail.com. And we used to live there for almost 14 years, and we'd like to go back for 3 weeks or a month and try to help out there. All right, thanks, viewers. We appreciate it. And my son will be right back. And just hold tight. We got some good stuff coming.
Okay.
So you see, if you read Revelation 2:9, Revelation 3:9, that really puts the icing on the cake. They are not the Hebrews there. They are another people. If that wasn't true, why does the Most High say all through his word that there'll be war no more in Israel when his people come back? So there's wars there. So you know it's not their people. Even white Jewish people are admitting it, that they're not the Hebrews there. Scholars we're talking about, rabbis.
Read.
Where? For what?
From the top.
When therefore Yashayah knew how the Pharisees had heard that Yashayah made and baptized more disciples than John, though Yashayah himself baptized not, but his disciples, he left Judea, and departed again into Galilee. And he must needs go through Samaria.
Mm-hmm.
Then cometh he to the city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jacob's well was there. Therefore, Yashayah, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. 9th is 12. It's about the 4th hour of the day. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yashayah said unto her, give me to drink.
Stop. So now a lot of people don't understand Now, remember when we were reading Kings, 2 Kings 17? This woman, what race was she? It's a question. Because she's gonna claim to be an Israelite.
Come on.
But what race is she? Because we know that
the Hebrews had nothing to do with the Samaritans.
No, we know that the northern kingdom was not in the land.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
2 Kings 17:25. Okay. Go to 2 Kings 17:25, then we'll show them that again.
I see. I understand.
2 Kings 17.
Didn't Christ say he had nothing to do with them? All right, 2 Kings what? 17 what? 25? Okay. 25. Yeah, Mary.
And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling.
2 Kings 17:24.
Wait, let me find it. Wait. Go ahead, Mary.
And the king of Assyria.
Louder.
And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from
Kalat. Kohat.
And from
Abba.
And from
Hamath, that's right.
And from
Shaveri.
and placed them in the city of Samaria.
He placed them where?
In the city of
I see.
He placed them where?
In the city of Samaria. Instead of the children of Israel. Oh, wow. Look at that. Awesome, Josh.
Stop.
Wait.
Stop.
That's how they got
Start
there.
the verse again, Dad.
Look at that.
Thank you, Mom.
And from Serpent.
No. So that's where we get Sephardic. That word.
Oh, Sephardic. That's where they get that from.
Read start 24 again.
All right. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon.
From where?
Babylon.
From where?
Babylon.
So these were well, some people say that Babylon was in Iraq, but some people also believe that Babylon was somewhere in Africa.
Wow.
Well, we know that
Right.
So they were Ethiopians.
Okay.
The original. So these were, again, this is said in even if it was in Iraq, the original Iraqis, what we would call Iraqis, would have been black because everyone was black. So why did we go here? We're trying to get some historical knowledge,
Yeah.
basic Bible,
I just learned something. That was
basic
good.
Bible knowledge.
You know, we read this before, didn't we? Yeah, we just remembered it, Josh. Yeah, that was good.
Basic Bible knowledge on the ancestor, the race of the woman that Christ was talking to in Samaria.
Okay, good. And from Ava.
So now these are not Israelite cities or places.
No. And Hanath, and from Sepharvim, right? Sepharvim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And placed them
did what?
And placed them in the cities of Samaria.
Them, in other words,
put them, forced them.
Salmanasar put these people in to Samaria.
Wow. Instead of the children of Israel.
Instead of who?
Oh, and that's when they went. Oh, I see. That's what.
That's why the Israelites. That's why the Israelites didn't like the Samaritans.
Oh.
Because these were Babylonians and different.
I see.
These were heathens.
Wow.
Read.
Instead of the children of Israel, and they what? They possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. Wow.
Read.
And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Most High. Therefore, the Most High sent lions among them. Wow. Which slew them. And some of them. Wherefore they, okay, I got a long line, spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the Most High of the land. Therefore he had sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the Most High of the land. Wow.
So because
so that's why the Samaritans weren't welcome.
Yashayah. That's why Christ.
Now go back to John, right?
John 4 and 23.
All right, 23.
Hold
on.
John 4:20.
All right, ready? John 4:23. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. That's a good precept, Josh. For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
Wait.
Wow. Remember now, he's talking. Listen, don't lose track of where he's talking and when, Tony. This is Yashayah talking back in his time. And that's not that far from Shalom in you. Okay? Now, Christ knew who they were, weren't they? He knew they weren't his people.
Watch this now. Wait. I'm going to jump up a couple verses. Verse 20.
Good.
Watch what the Samaritan said.
Yeah, you can see right here.
Verse 20.
Yeah.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain. Now, when a person reads this, they would think this is another Israelite or Jewish, what they would say, a Jew talking to a Jew. No. So when she was saying that our fathers worshipped here, she was referring back to
in Kings.
First Kings,
That's
Second
right.
Kings, when Gentiles came in the lands and started defiling with their pagan worship.
That's right. Our fathers. Wow.
So she was trying to say that she was an Israelite.
Wow, that's right. Look at that.
Now that doesn't sound familiar. Like there's other people in Israel claiming to be Israelites and they're pagan.
Oh no.
In the land.
Yeah, that's right. Come on.
That sounds like what's going on today.
Yeah, that's right.
In the mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where we ought to worship. Yashayah say unto her, woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall say, neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father.
What is the mountain?
Ye worship, you Gentiles that were put here in after my people were drove out.
What does he mean, the mountain, Josh? What mountains he talking about?
Samaria.
Oh, okay, the mountains of Samaria. That's right.
So you Gentiles that are claiming to be Israelites that are in Samaria. Again, we read this in 2 Kings 17:25 and down.
Stop. Wait 1 second. Wait, real quick. Hold on before I lose my thought. Mountains, Edomites, all kinds of strange people that worship strange gods. Go ahead.
You Gentiles worship, ye know not. Because you weren't given commandments on what or what not to worship.
I see what he's telling them. Go ahead.
So it would make sense that Gentile societies would have idols all over it. Monuments, statuaries,
groves,
everything, because
temples.
They weren't given commandments not to set up idols.
Wow.
That's why all over America we see statues, obelisks, monuments, because this is a pagan culture.
It is. It really is. I see that now. Wow. Because they're not keeping the commandments, America.
Know what ye worship. For we know, the Israelites, we know what we worship. For salvation is of the Israelites or Jews.
The Hebrews, that's right.
So for salvation is of everybody.
The Hebrews. The white people. Wow, this is good. You always start slow, Josh, but always end up really good.
So,
what a precept, huh? King 17. Look at that. So they took them out of the land. They never brought Israel. That's why Israel was captured by Hoshea, and then he had to listen to Shalom later to bring Israel over the seas into America. I mean, to Central America, you know. Wow. So that was the Most High's plan. So he sent lions among the other people, and he killed them. Watch out. America, watch out. Yashayah is going to destroy this land.
Salvation is of the children of Israel, people.
You better stop holding on to America. It's going down, brothers. I don't care how much you glorify that pagan star flag. I don't care how much you glorify the American government with people riding around with Trump on their window. You believe this?
Hold up the president.
Yeah, and hold up the president. Even next door to Bo's mother. Oh, I was against Trump. I think he's doing good. Blind America, John.
So, basic Bible knowledge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
all two precepts, right, Josh?
So, before we close,
want to hear a clip?
I want to put this.
I like what he was saying before, that brother Josh. Huh?
Read.
Well, just keep your Bible here. Yeah, let's hear a clip. Maybe we're going to hear a clip tonight. See a clip. Wow. See, when the Most High does something, he does it right, don't he, Tony?
Yeah.
Going back into this.
All right. Okay.
Dad.
Yeah. Let me read. Show me.
Page 70.
Yeah.
Start here.
Start there. Okay.
I'll tell you when I
All
want
right.
you to stop.
Listen, I hope you have this book. If you're listening to us at any given time, any length of time, get this book. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. 17. Page 17?
70.
Oh, 70. Sorry. This is Hebrews to Negroes. 70. Okay.
70.
All right, 70. Negro land, West Africa, home of the black Hebrew Israelites prior to the slave trade. Wow. So that's where they end up, a lot of them. I would consider that part of the Gold Coast too, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay. In many medieval African maps, 500 AD to 1500 AD, there can be seen the words of Negro land above Guyana in the area known as West Africa. Negro land, sometimes called Negridia, was an archaic European term to describe the inland and timely explored region in West Africa where the Negro people lived. Negro land comprised the western part of the region called Soyuda or Sudan, not to be confused with the African country. Wow. In earlier times, the portion of West Africa all the way straight across east to Sudan and as Abyssinia, modern Ethiopia, was known as Soyuda, or Yehuda, land of and Judah. Thus the meaning land of Judah.
There was a land, there's a place in Africa. Excuse me.
Take your time.
So when they rewrote these maps, these modern maps,
they changed everything.
There was a place in Africa where Negroes or
the Yeshayah, Yehuda.
So where Negroes lived, called Land of Judah.
Come on.
That's very interesting.
Wow. Look at that, Josh.
Read.
Therefore, this whole strip of land from West Africa to East Africa was known as Yehuda or Sudan, and its inhabitants were multiple black Jewish communities, really black Hebrew communities. This eventually was changed to Sudan, which later got changed to Sudan to Sudan. During Arabic dominions in Africa, the territory of Sudan was divided into Western Sudan, Negro land, proper Guinea, how you say that one? Guinea, Central Sudan, and Eastern Sudan. Ethiopia, Abyssinia, the later term Sudan. Mm-hmm. For the area was believed to be the direct translation of the Arabic term Bilad al-Sudan. Bilad al-Sudan, meaning land of the blacks. Wow. Mm-hmm. During late medieval times, 14th century, West Africa Negro land was ruled by the Sogata Empire. The Sogata Empire, am I saying right? Songhai. Oh, Songhai. Songhai Empire was the largest African Islamic empire in history. Rulership of this area went back and forth between the Songhai Empire and the Mali Empire, or Malai. In the 1430s, the Songhai Empire regained its independence under Songhai dynasty, or Soni. There are different reports that the Soni dynasty was a dynasty with Israelite king heritage, while other sources state the dynasty converted to Islam as other kingdoms, including Israelite, did did with the spread of Islam.
So what's that saying is that Islam came into Africa, or Muslims, and found Israelites, enslaved them, and converted them, which began the Israelites' introduction, or the Negroes' introduction to the Quran and Islam. Read.
However, ancient Judeo-Arabic literature has revealed Jewish communities did in fact exist in West Africa, and these communities were referred to as the Jews of the Bilad al-Sudan. These Jewish communities were said to be descendants of exiled Hebrews in the Middle East, Israel, Assyria, Babylon, North Africa, Spain, and Portugal. Various historical documents prove their existence to be at one time in the Ghana, Mali, and Sohai empires. Am I saying it right? Sohai? These Jewish communities, or Hebrews, would scatter further west to the coast of Africa, Senegal, Gambia, Syria, Leone, Libya, Guyana, Ivory Coast, Cape Verde, and to the south, proper Guyana, modern day Ghana, Benin, Togo, Nigeria,
Niger,
Nigeria,
Cameroon.
These Jewish communities, or Hebrew, continued to exist for hundreds of years in West Africa, but were later diminished or lost through changes, social conditions, changing religions, migration, and slave trades.
So
wow,
mainly,
awesome, man. Awesome.
So why I
love history. History great, Tony?
Yeah.
So
I mean, real truth history.
So
about your people.
So why I wanted to read that is that's very important knowledge to have. So basically, when the Europeans went to the west coast of Africa, around Benin, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Guyana, Ghana,
the Gold Coast, that's all Hebrew. That old
Benin,
place.
which is a Hebrew word.
Wow, for Benjamin, that's awesome.
And most of those names actually might have been Hebrew names, because remember, those
were, Josh. They definitely
were. Because those people,
they carried that heritage with them, didn't they?
All those were Hebrew kingdoms. Those were Hebrew kingdoms in Africa.
Yes, sir.
So, so when the European slave traders went into Africa, they were going in there with the knowledge of who they were bringing out of there. They just didn't happen amongst people who were uncivilized, like they would have you believe.
Right. I want to say this, because if they, Mary, listen, guys, if they ended there, they picked up African cultures, but they picked them up too. They picked them up from them too, with the dreads, right, and the locks. Oh yeah, and their truth of the commandments. So it's not a shame to tell people that you're from Africa, African American, but you're not African American. There's the dilemma.
So
that's why you got to know your history.
Hopefully,
show a clip.
That was a good lesson.
Yeah, it really was, man. Blessed. I like what he was saying before, brother. Remember, what was he going to say?
And shalom.
Oh, shalom. Okay.